Hello, welcome to the second episode as basic as football, basic AF. I'm Brendan Marcello. It's my co-host, Amanda Marcello. She's my wife. Um, we just watched the final game of the college football playoff semifinals. We now know that it's Notre Dame versus Ohio State in the national championship game, January 20th. Amanda got her last pick wrong. She picked Texas over Ohio State, and then Quinn Ewers fumbled the ball away to his former roommate and gave the ball away. So I just want to hear your first initial thoughts on Notre Dame and Ohio State in the college football playoff.
I mean, not great, Bob. I don't love it.
Why?
I really didn't want Ohio State in that game. I really didn't want them in there.
Okay.
It's that how many 15-year-old beef with Ohio State. I really didn't want them in there.
Explain to the viewers why you hate Ohio State.
Sugar Bowl 2010, 2011. What year was that? Yeah.
She's the only person in the world who remembers the 2010 Sugar Bowl, which is just an afterthought even for Ohio State fans because they're accustomed to being in big games.
Yeah, and Arkansas fans are not.
Yeah, so, all right, so January 20th, it's Ohio State, Notre Dame in Atlanta. I'll be there. Amanda will be here watching on TV, taking notes. And I will say this, I am very proud of you. She took extensive notes, at least for the Orange Bowl. She didn't so much for the Cotton Bowl. We were hosting friends who, by the way, are upstairs with us, part of the audience right now. One of them is a former mascot and is very loud and wants to clap so badly. I'm looking at him right now. He wants to clap.
Can we let them?
Yeah, you guys can clap.
It's our live studio audience. Okay.
They're here. They're here more or less to see Amanda and listen to what she has to say because I'm really boring with all the typical stuff you would hear. But so let's get to the real big news here. This is I think real in your wheelhouse. Former Georgia quarterback Carson Beck enters the transfer portal after declaring for the NFL draft. He didn't hire an agent, so he could go back to school if he wanted to before the January 15th deadline. He opted to enter the portal.
Okay.
And then one day later.
On the MS-DOS computer?
On the MS-DOS computer where you can get Oregon Trail and Arkanoid and decides, hey, I'm going to transfer instead to Miami and get a big payday.
Wait, you can pick what school you're transferring to?
As long as they show interest in you. Sometimes you can't choose who your wife's going to be just by saying, hey, that's the person I want to marry.
Well,
but I did that with you, and
it worked out. Okay.
Yeah. So it was a compliment of some sort, and she took it as a slight. But anyway, Carson Beck is going to Miami, reportedly for a lot of money, at least $3 to $4 million in revenue sharing, which begins next July. That's now allowed and legal. And in addition to that, some marketing deal of some sort. So you could get paid maybe up to $6-7 million, maybe even more for 1 year of playing football. And by the way, Carson Beck just had surgery on his throwing elbow and might not even be able to practice till June or July. So this guy's going to get paid for who knows if we'll even see him get to play all that often, before he actually gets out there on the field in August or September, if he's able to get to that point. But the real story here is he goes to Miami, where he gets to be closer to his girlfriend, social media star and Miami basketball player, Hannah Cavender.
That's so cute.
That is cute. So what do you know? What do you know about Hannah?
I actually don't know anything about Hannah.
Cool. Awesome. Glad you did your research. So
it was a snow day. I've been very busy.
All right. Wait.
We
got a studio audience member who knows something about Hannah Cavender. Can you tell us anything?
She's a twin with Haley, and they separated and they're back for the final year of their eligibility.
Okay.
And now they're back to go with Miami. Go women's basketball.
Go women's basketball.
Is that all actually correct?
Yes, that is correct. They decided to come back for one more year in Miami. Hannah Cavender and her twin sister, Haley. Right?
I know that.
And so Carson Beck has been with Hannah, long-distance relationship, which really doesn't matter anything these days because everybody can just fly anywhere and they got the money in college football now. But he gets to go to South Beach, be with a program that spends a lot of money in the NIL space. He replaces Cam Ward at quarterback, who I don't know if you knew who Cam Ward was. He was up in the Heisman Trophy kind of conversation until there were a couple of losses near the end of the year. And so he steps in with a program that wants to win immediately, win an ACC championship and a national championship next year. But what do you know about Carson Beck other than have you seen anything of him on the field, off the field, anything social media? Anything like that?
No, I prepared very mentally for this episode.
Oh, this is great. It's awesome.
This is great.
Awesome. You're fine. So, yeah, I thought it was interesting that it was interesting. He entered the transfer portal with a quote unquote do not contact tag, which means that when you enter the portal, any school that tries to reach out to you, they can be quote unquote reported to the NCAA for making recruiting violations. So the idea here, Amanda, is when you have the do not contact tag, that usually signifies he already knows where he's going.
Oh, okay.
Which obviously puts up the question for among a lot of people. Well, if he already knows where he's going, did that school already talk to him when he was previously
Right.
at Georgia and weren't they tampering or whatever? But here's the thing: there's no way to prove that. Tampering is going everywhere.
Isn't the way to prove that just having the no contact tag?
That also, but also, I think the thing that gets by with this is that he entered the draft. He said, "I'm entering the draft. No longer football players." So anybody could have talked to him. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
Well, I think it's interesting that he decided, I'm not going to go to the NFL. I'm going to stay in college football. And all signs pointed up till about 8-9 days ago, when I was down in New Orleans covering Georgia at the Sugar Bowl, that he was going to stay in the NFL draft. But now he's going to Miami and try to win a championship with a lot of money in his back pocket.
That Miami social media team, they're going to make some good content.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, that's probably the thing here.
Yeah.
I mean, we talk about marketing and paying people and whatever. There's some brands out there that would probably want to team up with the Cavender twins and obviously with Carson Beck in there.
I did see, I think it was on TikTok. I did see a TikTok that they made just a couple hours ago, mid-afternoon. Maybe.
Really?
Yeah.
What did they do?
Just kind of, did the U hand motions.
Oh, that was it?
Yeah, that was it.
No, they didn't dance or do
I mean, a little minimal dancing. Not great, not a lot, but yeah, just a little bit. Kind of like putting it out there.
Okay. All right. So they're Facebook official now.
Facebook official.
Going to Miami. I don't know how that's going to work at Miami. I wasn't overly impressed with Carson Beck this year. He threw 12 interceptions, the most in the SEC this year. And during a stretch in October, he threw the most amount of interceptions that we had seen in the SEC in something like almost 20 years among any SEC quarterback. He rebounded near the end of the season, but man, he was up and down throughout the year, and he threw the most interceptions we've seen by a Georgia quarterback in 11 years. That's bad. Now, I don't think it was all on him. I think it was the receivers. Their drop rate, 9.4%, from my understanding, from all the research I've done, which I hope we've done for this podcast. But the problem with this is like, what does Miami have around him? That's going to be interesting to see when they go into the portal and everything. Like I said, they're willing to spend money, and they're going to build a roster there. They're going to try and contend for a championship.
Was he their first get in the portal in this window?
No, the window is pretty much closed.
Oh, okay.
The portal window is only open right now, really, for teams that were just finished their bowl season. Teams that were playing in bowl after the portal window closes had 5 days to enter. But because, obviously, Georgia just entered the Sugar Bowl, played, and he'd already entered the NFL draft, so to speak, and left the team, he was a free agent, so to speak.
Gotcha.
So he could have went anywhere. But another thing I wanted to point out here real quick, diving deep into the weeds. Immediately when he entered the portal, we start seeing reports about him. Well, maybe Texas Tech will get involved. Maybe Ohio State will get involved because they have to replace Ohio State, because they have to replace Will Howard, who just won there in the Cotton Bowl to go to the national championship game. But I was told almost immediately by sources at Texas Tech, we have no interest in this guy. I don't know where that came from. We don't have the money to try and go out and get this guy. And I had one source who is very heavily involved in the NIL space to help set up deals and everything, saying this guy isn't worth $7 million, which is a rumor that was going around. That's a lot of money.
A lot of money.
But with college football these days, there's no fair market value, so to speak. So everybody's
a lot of money in college football.
You are what you are. Like, if someone's going to offer you $5 million, take it. And then someone's probably going to try and offer you more just to try and one-up you, because boosters, if they have a lot of money and they want to spend it, they're going to spend it because they want to win the big bucks, get the big bucks. So anyway, I want to get real quick. I was really, as I said, impressed with you, with all your note taking.
Okay.
So how many pages of notes did you take on the Orange Bowl between Notre Dame and Penn State?
It probably got up to like 8 or 9 pages of notes, and then I condensed
Oh
down.
my God!
I condensed down.
Did our studio audience hear that? 8 to 9 notes.
I got really. Thank you. Thank you. Whoop.
And
I just
she dropped
dropped
her
my notes.
notepad because she's an anxious Nelly.
Anxious.
I think one of our audience members just
Thank you.
about fell
Thank
into the
you.
desk like Chris Farley.
Thank you.
So
This is
the other,
going well.
but the other thing is like, so what were you taking notes on? Like, I take lots of notes during games if I'm covering them, and I thought it was interesting because as a reporter, you take a lot of notes and you barely use any of it, but you're always
Right.
trying to find something, and that's kind of what your practice was. You took
Yeah.
notes of every little thing you saw.
I took a lot of notes, and then I deleted most of them.
Okay, so
'Cause
what?
I didn't know what was going to be important.
Well, everything's important in life.
And then it turns out a lot of my notes weren't actually the important stuff.
Oh, okay. All right.
But
Well,
I didn't know that going in. What was interesting was I had never watched a game with the intent to talk about it in detail.
yeah.
Which is-
Okay.
yeah.
This is the one game you did take notes on. So I'm going to
Yeah.
give it over to you.
No.
Oh my gosh. So what were some of your main takeaways from Notre Dame rallying? Because they were dominating in the first half, and then they
Yeah.
bounced back in the second half. And then Penn State took a lead late, and then Notre Dame responded once again and ended up winning the game.
Yeah.
It was an impressive performance. Notre Dame's just been like the epitome of like what you like to see in college football. A team that just never gives up and always has a chance in the end.
Yeah.
Great. So Notre Dame won 27-24. But what were some things that stuck out with you? How about that running back, Jeremiah Love?
What was that play where he had like 4 guys trying to bring him down?
Yeah.
When was that? Was that in the
That
second half?
second half, that touchdown
Let me see if I can
run
find my
near the goal
notes.
line, he was like practically horizontal with the ground.
That was impressive.
And he had a defensive back on his back, and he somehow had the strength still to lift that guy off the ground himself and then carry him into the end zone despite him falling while he was doing so. And by the way, he did this with an injured knee. His knee was injured.
I missed that in my notes.
Injured it in the Sugar Bowl late and was pulled, couldn't play. And he went into the game in the Orange Bowl saying, I think I'm okay. There's one thing I've told myself I'm not going to do, and that's hurdle players. That's been his trademark. He's hurdled several players throughout the year.
Okay.
And guess what he ended up doing in the game? He ended up hurdling a player. He broke his own rule.
Yeah.
This guy, despite the injured knee, did what he did. And that play, I think, was like the absolute thing that is encapsulated Notre Dame and why they were in this game throughout, even though they were dominated in the first half.
Yeah.
It was incredible.
It was a rough first half for them, for sure.
So what else did you notice from that game?
Let's see. Let me flip through my notes here. I did write one of the things I wrote down, making me regret my pick out the gate because I picked Notre Dame to win. It was a rough start for them.
Yeah,
right off the bat.
You kind of go in line with a lot of people on social media, including reporters. Always say, "Oh, game's over."
Well,
game's over. I don't care anymore.
But
It's
also,
like, dude, you know how sports work?
Well, also though, I've never had to watch and I'm not calling myself this, but with a journalistic eye. I've never had to watch as a journalist. I always watch with a fan mindset.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to watch a game and try to prepare to talk about a game and try to turn the fan mindset off because I picked Notre Dame to win. That was my pick on the podcast. I'm not a Notre Dame fan, but since I made that pick, I was kind of
trying
to turn that. You see what I'm saying?
No, I got you. Are
Yeah.
you happy that Notre Dame reached a national championship game? It's interesting. Like Notre Dame's always been a team like everybody hates, but like everybody's falling in love with them this year.
Because I picked them to win, I would say yes, I am happy. But if I had to make a pick, I wouldn't have cared one way or the other, I think.
Okay. What do you think of their uniforms? You like their uniforms?
Yeah, I like the gold. Yeah. Gold school. Yeah.
Gold school. What do you think of Penn State's uniforms?
It was interesting. You said during the regular season, Notre Dame does not have their names on the back. Penn State didn't have the names on the back, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I get that as like a team building, like no man is above the team kind of thing. I get that. I appreciate the sentiment. As a fan trying to watch and keep everybody straight, do not like it.
Yeah, same.
I got to be honest. It's hard to keep up with everything, and especially as a casual observer and someone who's watching a team that's not your home team that you root for all the time, it's very hard to keep them straight, and I do not care for that.
Well, it's terrible, like as a reporter in the press box where you can barely see anything on the field anyways. You got binoculars out looking at everything, and if you don't have the names in the back, you're always double checking. Like, I think number 2 so and so, and you're having to double check on your
Right.
roster just to double check, make sure you're right. I'm anal about that anyway, and so I'm always looking at that.
How many teams do that?
Not many,
Okay.
not many, and it's typically those old school type of teams like Penn State, Notre Dame. You know what? I can't even think of another.
Do they double up on numbers,
Yes, that's allowed in college football.
even if they don't have their names on the back? And how do you keep
Correct.
that straight
All
as a
right.
reporter?
All right. I'll tell you this right now. All right. So you can have a team with wearing the same number, but they can't be on the field at the same time.
Right. Oh,
So like you
okay.
can have one guy that's number 2 on offense and number 2 on
Okay.
defense, but they can't be on the field at the same time wearing the same jersey number.
Okay.
The problem is I've seen this happen where the same guy, or the guys, 2 guys on the field are wearing the same number. In fact, I remember covering an Auburn LSU game, and Auburn had 2 number 1s on the field, and it was a big play, and they broke up a pass and intercepted a pass or something like that. The refs missed it. They had 2 number 1s on the field, and LSU ended up losing the game in that big moment. In fact, if I recall, I might be wrong here. This is just me spitballing, but I believe that was the game where after the game was over, Les Miles got fired as head coach.
Ooh.
So big
Okay.
mistake by the refs. He was probably going to be fired anyway.
Right.
But, hey, listen, an extra week of, a paycheck for a coach. I mean, that's you buy groceries still, right?
Sure, yeah.
And they don't have a lot of money as coaches.
They don't have any money.
Okay. All right. One of the big storylines here, and I wrote about it for the website I work for, is that that James Franklin just cannot get over the hump. The head coach of Penn State. He's 1-18 against top 5 teams
Oh,
in the
okay.
AP. 1-18 overall in his career. 1-15, I think, or 1-16 at Penn State. And also, they went into halftime. They were at one point they were leading by 10 points, right? They were 34-1 in their last 35 games when leading by 10 points.
Say that again.
34-1, leading by 10 points.
Okay.
Then they lose that game.
Ooh,
So
okay.
now they're 34-2 in the last 36 games when they lead by 10 points. Both losses happened this year against top 5 opponents as well. Ohio State, when they led by 10 points at home in Happy Valley, and also lost, of course, to Notre Dame when leading by 10 points. A lot of us in the industry, a lot of fans, obviously, James Franklin, big game James, because he just can't win the big games. This is his 11th season, and he hasn't been able to get over the hump. He hasn't been able to really win a big game. I mean, what do you think of that?
Boo birds are going to start coming out, aren't they?
They already have.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Fans go after him in the stands. In fact, he got into it.
Physically?
Well, they yell at him.
Oh, okay. Yikes.
And he got into it, a fan walking off the field earlier in the season, maybe the Ohio State game, actually.
You said 11 years?
11 years. What do you think Penn State should do?
Ooh, I'm not going to put that juju out there. I don't want to be putting that out there on him.
You already said earlier in our first podcast that you do not like James Franklin.
Well, that's me. I don't make those decisions, though.
Well, why do you not like James Franklin?
There's
Is it
something
because he's
about,
bald?
well,
You don't like bald men, do you?
listen,
Now it comes out.
it's just one. Something that happened during his time at Vanderbilt. No? This is nothing?
I can't think of
I
anything.
can't think of anything either. I don't know. Maybe it's just
I just
I
think
root
it's-
against everybody that ever coached against Arkansas ever.
Well, then that's a lot of
A
people.
lot of people. I
just
know.
think you
I
have
don't know.
baldism. All right, so we'll move on. Do you have any questions about the game for me? Like anything that stuck out and you're like, I was wondering about this.
Okay.
Note taker.
Yeah, I do have some notes. I don't like. Okay, bear with me.
I will bear
Give
down.
me some time.
I am bearing down.
Okay.
Trust me.
Could we not use lesser bowl game? This is not specifically about this bowl game. Could we not use some lesser bowls for the playoffs so that the teams aren't racking up the more prestigious bowl games for their win? Like, so Penn State had the Fiesta Bowl, Notre Dame has the Sugar Bowl, and then they're playing for the Orange Bowl. Like, so then they like these prestigious bowls back to back. Like, we not. You see what I'm saying?
So you're saying that like maybe they like should play in the Pop-Tart Bowl.
Sure.
Why?
And leave some of the prestigious bowls out there that aren't in the playoffs, just so some other teams can get some clout or something.
Hey, I can see that because we used to have the New Year's Six, which would include these bowl games that weren't involved in the 14
because now you got
playoffs.
teams doubling up on some of these big bowls.
I hear you. In fact, Notre Dame became the first team in college football history to win 2 major bowl trophies in the same season. It's never happened before, obviously.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the argument among a lot of people is that they should play home playoff games for the first 2 rounds instead of just the first round. How about that?
Yeah,
Play
maybe.
home playoff games and then do semifinal and then, the,
Okay.
championship game, something like
Yeah.
that. Like, do more home playoff
Yeah,
games. That's what I
something
think.
else.
I
Yeah.
mean, that's what makes college football the playoff and college football special, right? It's the
Yeah.
home atmosphere and the
Yeah.
pageantry. So why don't we do that?
I like that.
Okay, great.
And I think I heard on the broadcast about the Orange Bowl specifically that the Notre Dame kicker was the worst field goal kicker of the regular season. Did I hear that correctly?
Really? I didn't know. I don't know that.
Or did I
Inform me.
mishear that on the broadcast? Do you know anything
Maybe
about that?
maybe so, because the Notre Dame kicker really kind of pushed them out of the muck against Georgia. Hit a couple field goals there. He's a transfer. And he did very well. He's done very well for them, I thought, this season.
I would like to note my notes have a question mark on that. I was gonna go back and double check that, but
Uh-huh.
the
Yeah.
snow day got play of that. So
Yeah, we had a snow day where we live. Yeah. I'm winning. Hooray.
Thanks. Yep.
That's why we have an audience.
Yep.
They're all
Day continues.
they're very they're very lubricated.
They're very enthusiastic about the snow day.
One of our audience members likes to take micro naps, and I'm surprised he's awake
He's
right
awake
now.
right now. Okay. And also, I would like to ask at the end, again, I would like the studio audience to pipe down. How often at the end of a game is a lateral, when they're throwing laterals, how often is that actually successful in scoring at the end of the game?
It's not very successful very often, but
Right.
you should know, as an Arkansas fan, it's been
It's
successful
been successful.
against Ole Miss. How
Was
many
that
years
that
ago?
7 overtime game?
Yeah, they had a lot of laterals, a lot of backward passes, and then Arkansas ended up scoring and end up winning that game, right? Brett Bielema, your favorite coach.
He's all right.
Well, you talked to him on a
You ambushed me with
on
that.
a random
That
Monday night
was
one night.
bizarre. That was
Well,
bizarre.
we called you for the bar one night.
I was not ready for that phone call.
Yeah.
Anyway, moving on. Let's keep it moving, as you like to say.
All right. Jeez. All right. So that's all the questions you had. Let's move on to the Cotton Bowl, which we all watched together downstairs here with our lubricated office. Our office? Audience.
Words are hard.
Words are very hard. Also, they're all up here and they're ready to leave. They're already bored.
Very
You can
distracted.
imagine what our listening audience is like right now. So Ohio State ended up winning 28-14. What really stuck out to me was that Texas looked like they're about to be blown out. They ended up fighting back, ended up tying the game in the first half. Then Ohio State scores late on the very first pass play on a screen play to Travion Henderson, which I thought was interesting because he scores that, puts Ohio State back ahead before halftime, and he's the reason really that kind of swung the game early. He got flagged for a personal foul penalty for getting into it with another player, and Ohio State's offense really slowed down, and Texas kind of got some momentum going, but then he kind of put the nail down a little bit right there and got them going quite a bit before halftime. And then in the second half, Texas continued to make a game of it, and then Quinn Ewers ends up fumbling the ball, gets hit by Jack Sawyer, Ohio State linebacker, strips the ball as Texas was about to score and potentially tie the game, ends up running it all the way back for a touchdown. And here we are.
We'll scoop and score.
Saying Ohio State going to the national championship game. And Jack Sawyer, by the way, the linebacker for Ohio State, former roommate
with the
quarterback that he stripped, Quinn Ewers at Texas. They were former roommates at Ohio State. Quinn Ewers, obviously in his transfer portal era, was once the Ohio State quarterback and actually played one game for them, as you told me.
I pointed out to you.
Podcast.
Right.
I remember that.
I corrected you. Yeah.
So have you ever had like that moment where you like had a roommate you really hated, and then you had a moment where you triumphed over them, like Jack Sawyer did in his 20 years?
No.
Nothing like that?
Nothing like that, no.
You have any roommates you never liked?
Nope. I've had a very peaceful life.
Very peaceful life.
Yeah.
Okay.
Very blessed. # blessed.
All right. So who did you pick in this game? Remind me of that.
Texas.
And you just picked them out of spite, right?
Yeah.
To Ohio State.
It was a spite pick, for sure.
Why? Because of the Sugar Bowl?
Yes, correct.
15 years ago that no one remembers.
And you could say throw some SEC supremacy on there if you want to for a little razzle dazzle, but it's Sugar Bowl beef. from
Okay.
2010, 11. What year was that? I think
That's
it
January
was the
2011.
it was the 2010s played in 2011. Yeah.
Where did you pick the over under on that? You remember? It's 53.5 over under.
I don't know if I made a pick on that.
Pick the under.
I don't know if I made a pick on that.
Yeah. Yeah. End up being in the under there. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But they kept it closer than I really thought they would, honestly. Even having picked Texas to win, I didn't think it was going to be as
Yeah.
close. And they kept it close until the very end.
I just want to point out that I was right on everything.
That's fine.
This
This
week.
is your job. So
Yeah.
good job.
Thank you. No
You did a
problem.
good job.
That's no problem. Is there anything you want to talk about? Getting first and tee. That's your segment that you have to prepare for.
Well, as I previously mentioned, we had 6.5 inches of snow, 7 inches of snow overnight. So really my day was preoccupied with playing outside with our child, trying to keep the studio audience quiet. Again, we'll ask the studio audience to pipe down. We got outside, 10 o'clock this morning, played until lunch, had lunch, came back out, stayed out till 5 o'clock. No time for research. I'm a busy mom. When am I going to research first and tee? Also, had a lot of time to watch any shows. We watched a little bit of Love is Blind since that point, since our last recording.
A lot of douchebags on our show. A lot
Not
of
wrong.
dirtbags.
Not wrong.
A lot of dirtbags.
What's that one guy's name? Steven or whatever?
I don't know, but he's got back acting. You know what that means.
He's juicing.
Yeah.
He's juicing. We watched that. Watched a little bit of Landman again.
Landman.
Haven't read any more books, so I don't know anything there. Not a lot going on in my neck of the woods. Just keeping this house running.
That's it, huh?
It's pretty boring, honestly. Not a lot to talk about in my part of town.
This is great. This is great television.
Great segment. Yeah, great segment.
Great television.
I see why you have me on.
Well, I guess that's going to do it for this episode. Wow. Okay, that's going to do this for this episode of Basic AF. I'm going to head to Charlotte to go glad
my favorite airport.
God, I hate that airport.
I love that airport. I love those rocking chairs.
That's great. You ever been delayed there?
I have. I've had to run through there. I've had to haul butt through that airport.
Oh my gosh. I remember having to maybe have to go to Chicago one night instead of coming home, and I somehow not snuck on a plane, but I somehow convinced the gate agent to let me on a plane because they had a couple seats. I don't know how I did it.
I like it. I like that airport.
Terrible. I hate Charlotte's airport. Charlotte's a great town. The airport sucks ass.
It's a fine airport.
Whatever. So I'm going to head there, coaches convention. I'm going to talk to a bunch of coaches and agents. I'll be interested to see what the turnout's like. I think a lot of coaches are very tired.
Yeah.
Dealing with recruiting, transfer portal, bowl games, and all that stuff.
Season's lasting so long.
I already talked to a few folks, and they're just like already over it. They don't even want to go. So
sounds familiar.
Yeah. So what?
You don't want to go. You're tired.
Well, I'm tired, but I'll go.
Yeah.
I just want to see. I just want to know that if I'm going to go there, there's going to be people there.
Yeah.
I don't want to go somewhere and just be the only person standing in the convention hallway.
Yeah, that's fair.
So go do that, and then I come back home for a few days, and then it's national championship.
Yeah,
in Atlanta, and I'm looking forward to that. I love Notre Dame the way they're playing right now. Ohio State's really explosive. I don't know what's going to happen there. Real quick,
I was about to say, are you ready to make a pick?
I don't know. I turned my picks in, by the way. Do you have any early thoughts on how that game will end up going? Notre Dame, Ohio State in Atlanta, January 20th.
I got to pick Notre Dame.
Okay, Ohio State right now, as we're seeing on the screen, if you're watching on YouTube, is a 9.5 favorite. So I got Ohio State winning straight up, and then Notre Dame covering the 9.5 point spread.
Okay. I don't know what that language means. I don't understand that language.
Cool. All right, that's it for this episode. Thank you for tuning in. Bye.